Hey guys, welcome back to another video on Lua lecture series, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about tables in Lua, which is one of the most important data structure, one of the most important topics in Lua. So in Lua, tables are the most important, in fact the only data structure mechanism, but it is a very powerful one. We can use table to represent arrays, structures, records, sets and many other in a simple and efficient way. So to give you an example, we use this math.sign function in earlier videos. So here math is a table and sign is a index for that table. So a Lua table is an associative array, means you can think of tables as objects where each element is stored with some index. Here sign is an index inside a math table. So there are many ways to create a Lua table. So to start off, we have a constructor expression. So here I am declaring a table A by simply equating it to two curly braces, opening and ending curly braces. So now I have declared a table named A. Now I can store some values inside this table using the indexes. And remember, this index which I am using right now here is string x. I can index the table using anything, integer, float, string, or any other data structure, or even table. We can have nested tables also. So right now I'm indexing the table with string x and I'm storing an integer value, let's say 10. So now a table contains one key value, where the key is, or the index is x, string x, and the value is integer 10. I can also store another variable with index 20 or key 20 and value might, let's say, 21. Now if I access the table using the same expression, I can say a of 20 will be 21 and a of. One point to keep in mind is that tables are anonymous in Lua, means you can assign tables to other variables also, because they are used like references. So let's say I have a table A and I store something in this table, let's say A of 10 equal to 20, and now I assign this table to some new variable, say 20. Now I can index the variable B like I did above for A, and sorry, not A, B of 20, it will be B of 10. Yes. So that is what I mean when I say tables are anonymous in Lua. One more point I want to discuss here is that, like global variables, when you don't have initialized, or when you don't initialize any element of table in Lua, if you try to access it, it will be nil. Say I access 21, which I have not initialized earlier, so it will say nil. So one more way, there is one more way you can index table. Let's say I want to index this a table A with string x. So what I can do is I can simply say a dot x. So this is a syntactic sugar. This expression a dot x is a syntactic sugar for this. So either you can a of string x, or you can simply say a dot x. Lua gives this a facility for us to represent structures. So I like this way. If you use tables in this way, it will be easier for us to represent structures in Lua. So to give you an example, let's say I create a new table c of x, and I say c dot x equal to 10, c dot y equal to 20, and c dot z equal to 30. Now if I access this table C with either this expression or c dot x, I'll get the same value. So I hope you got the point. Next thing is, if we say c of 0, which is nil, and if we say c of string 0, they both are different. In Lua, these two expression means these two are different elements. Remember in some previous video I mentioned If we give equality sign for 0 equal to string 0, it will be equal because Lua implicitly converts strings and integers. But here it is different, so please keep this point in mind. But there is an expression to this rule, which is if I say a of float number a of 2.0 equal to 30, and if I access the same using integer, if the equivalent value is equal, it will give us the result. So here a of 2.0 and a of 2 means the similar thing because the underlying integer value is the same, underlying numeric value is the same. Now to support an initialized list in Lua gives us a facility to create tables in this way, which is called table constructor. Here what I will do is I'll declare and also initialize the Lua table in the same expression. Let's say I have a list of days. I'll say, so this is another way to declare and use tables in Lua. Now to support record-like structures, data structures in Lua, we have another way to declare tables in Lua. Let's say I create a new table called record, where I say a equal to 10, b equal to 20. So now I have two elements in this table record, where the index of first element is a and the index of second element is b with their respective values 10 and 20. Now if I access this table using any expression, this expression or simply the syntactic sugar which I discussed earlier, will get the same value. Now one more point I want to discuss here is that we can mix the record style and the list style which we discussed here. So to give you an example, let's say I have a polyline table where I say color is blue. Just an example, I say thickness is 2, and then I say points equal to 4, and then I say x equal to 0 and y equal to 1, and I close. So here what I'm doing is I am nesting a table inside a table. So here in this table polyline, the first element is this, a color, second is this with the value 2, and third is this point with value 4, and fourth element is this, which in itself is a Lua table. So you can extend this and give one more. Let's say x equal to -10, y equal to -20, close this. And you can always give a trailing comma at the end, it doesn't matter in Lua, so that is also you can keep in mind. So we have this facility in Lua to nest tables to represent complex data structure. So if you want to represent some complex data structure, you can use this design. Now to represent arrays in Lua, what we can do is we can have integer keys and whatever values we want to store. So in that way we can use Lua tables to represent arrays. So to give you an example, let's say I create a new table array, I initialize it. Now what I do is I can say array of 1 equal to 1, array of 2 equal to 2, and array, let's just keep the example short, and so 3 elements are enough. So now what I can do is I can iterate over these array and print each value. So iterate. What I can do is I can use a for loop for I equal to. By the way, I'll discuss this arrays and loops in future videos also, so don't you worry if you don't know about looping and all those things. Just focus on the tables here. I'll end this and I'll again say for I equal to 1 2 3 do. So what I'm gonna do, I'm simply going to print the table values and I simply say end. So nil 30 nil. Why is that? Because I used a. I should have used array because I used array table here. So that is again a mistake. So what I will do again quickly. Print array of I. Here you go. So you get 1 2 3. Now there is a concept in Lua called sequence. So what is a sequence of Lua? To put it simply, it is a simple list or a table without holes means without nil values. So for sequence especially, we have a special operator in Lua, this operator. Remember I showed you this operator with strings also, which gives you the number of bytes in strings. So you can use this operator for sequences also, which gives the number of elements in that table or list or sequence, whatever you call it. So this is useful when you are iterating over sequences. Like you can use this in this way for I equal to 1 2 hash of your table or sequence. Remember, if your table has nils in between, then it won't work as required. So you need to make sure that you use this with sequence, and sequence is nothing but a list without holes, where holes is nil values. If you use this hash symbol with non-sequence tables, then the result is kind of undeterministic. You can't determine the output, so it's better to avoid that way and use this symbol only with this operator, I should say, with only sequences. And sequences are nothing but table or a list without holes, where holes are nil values. So to traverse table elements, we have a special function in Lua or operator called pairs. So like here I have so many tables I've already declared here. I use one of them, let's say array. I'll use array. So what I'll do is I can do for k v, where k is key and v is value, in pairs, where pairs is an iterator function. Inside this brackets, I'll give the name of the table, let's say array, and again I'll just simply print k comma v. Oops, do expected, sorry. For kv in pairs, array do print k comma v. Now if I give end and press enter, you will get the key and values of this table. Now here we have used an array where the indexes are integers, so that's why this table is called array. But if we have used some other table without numeric indexes, the order would be undeterministic, because internally Lua stores the table elements in a hash table, so you can't determine the order unless you are using the integer indexes. So that you should keep in mind while coding in Lua. Another way to to achieve the same functionality is, what you can do is for k equal to 1 and hash of array, and what you can do is simply print k comma array of k. So this will also achieve the same functionality. Now let's talk about safe navigation. Let's say you are creating some library in Lua and you are using it, and that library has a deep level of nesting. By that I mean, if you have, let's say, a library named lib, and you have a foo, where is a foo is a sub library inside that, or a sub module, and inside that you have another function, inside that you have another some variable, or you have some structure inside that, and you want to navigate to it. So if you use like this lib dot foo dot var1 sorry table 1 dot function 2. So if you navigate to use like this, you might get error or nil values. If you let's say you are trying to access lib dot foo and dot table1. Let's say the table1 is not existing inside this library. So what will happen is you will get error. So to have safe navigation in Lua, we have something, we can use this expression. Like, what we can do is we can say lib dot lib or an empty table dot foo or empty table, or then dot what I typed earlier, table 1 or empty table. So you see, at every point we are saying if lib is true means if it is not a nil value, then use lib, otherwise use this empty table. So in that way we won't get any error if any of the intermediate values or tables or structure is nil. So this is one way to use libraries in Lua. Now let's talk about table library, which is inbuilt in Lua. So you can use table libraries to create tables, insert values inside and remove values. So to give you an example, let's say let's create a new table altogether. I'll say new equal to table. So I have initialized one table. Now to insert value, I will use this table library and say table.insert. First, the first parameter will be the table name. So in our case it is new. Then the second parameter will be the position at which I want to insert the value. So let's say I want to insert at the front. So I will say 1 first index. Then the value which I want to insert. For now I'll say first string value first. So the only element now right now in our new table is first with index 1 or key 1. If you don't give any second parameter, which is the position where you want to insert, it will simply insert at the end, like so. So to prove this concept, I will do simply do fatafat in pairs new do print kv you see, the first element is first, the second is last. Okay, so we have one more function in a table library for removing the elements. Let's say I created a new table and I inserted some value, table.insert. So first argument is a table name and a position and the element, like so. And then I do table.insert one more element. I would insert at this table and I will say last. Now if I want to remove some elements, what I will do, I will say table.remove, table name I would give, and then the position, which is 2, I will give. So what this will do is it will remove the second element from this table new and return the key value of that removed element. So here we get last, so that means our second element from this table is removed. Now there is a generic function in a Lua table library which is called table.move. So it takes few parameters which I will explain one by one. So the first parameter as usual is the table name. In our case it is new. And the second parameter is the starting index, which I'll say first. And the third parameter is the ending index and index of the table. And the fourth and the last element, last argument is the position where you want to move. So I'll say simply T or index. So what this call will does is it will take this parameter which is a table name, and inside this table it will move the elements from first index to end index to this index. So to give you an example, let's say I want to insert an element at the starting of this table. So what I can use this table.move function, and I will give the table name as new, and I will say move the element from first index till the end of this table as new, and where I want to move to the second index. You see what I'm doing here? I'm making a space for first element, so I'm moving all the element from first to the end to the second position, starting the second position. So the first element place will be empty. Now what I will do is I will place the new entry at the first position. Let's say initial. I'll say initial. Now if I iterate this table, you will see the effect what I have done. You see, initial is inserted at the first, and then we have the second element first. So and the last we don't have because we removed it here. So what is happening is this table.move function will move the elements from first index to the last index to this index. Elements in this range to this index, it will be moved using this table.move function. So one more important point about this table.move function is you can give one more argument to this function, which is the fifth argument. That is that, like let's say I create a new table, new one, a new one, first element I gave is super initial. So now I'll call this table.move function again to show you what I mean. Now if I give this table new, table name as new, and the starting index will be first and the ending index will be till the end of this table new, and the fourth element is from where I want to put these elements. So I'll say at the end. So I'll give the length of this new one table, and fifth argument I'll give as the new table name, which is new one. So what will happen with this call is I will move all the elements one to end of new to this new one table from this index. So first element will be super initial. After that the element from this table new will be appended to this new one table. So this call will in effectively will just append the entries from table 1, so which is new, to the new one table. So now if I do for kv in pairs new one, do print kv Now if I press enter, I'll get all the elements from table 2, which is new one, and after that I'll get all the elements from old table, which is new. So the elements from new table is appended to the elements of new one table. So the first element will be super initial. After that we will get all the elements, which is first, initial and first. So the first element will be super initial, then we will get first. The first element will be super initial, then the second element will be initial, and the third element will be first. Okay, so I made a mistake here. I gave this fourth argument as length of new one, which is 1 in our case. So it will move all the position. It will move all the elements to first position, which is wrong. I should have given 2 here. Then it would have shown the effect. So now what I will do is I'll again say new one equal to new one of first equal to super initial now I'll say the table again. I'll make the same call, table dot move. Now new one comma hash new, then here I'll say 2. Now the table name new one 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, now I'll do for kv in pairs new one do k comma v, let's say end. You see the first element is super initial, which is from new table, and then we have appended the 2 elements from old table, which is new. So guys, that was all from my side about Lua tables. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.